Hey guys, Paul from Net Audio here, and we're going to talk about some of our different audio integration interfaces. Years ago, back when we were doing forums, we were selling big on the forums, doing our enclosures and everything, and all of a sudden our sales really started to kind of drop off. I started asking some of my previous customers, saying, hey, have you seen something where people are, not buying the enclosures or saying something bad about them or anything like that? And they said, no, the problem is that a lot of customers are just intimidated by these new premium audio systems or factory systems in these newer trucks. And I said, well, crap, we tie in with all this stuff all the time. So we started offering these different harnesses and interfaces, and they've just evolved over the years. What we're going to talk about, it's a product category that we like to refer to as amplifier ready. And what that means is we're giving you access to all the signal wires and all the return line to go back from your new amp back through the factory speaker wires. So we're offering you plug and play solutions to tie in with your different systems. We offer it for a few different configurations, and we've got some different options and setups here, so we're going to talk about them, but the installation principle is all the same. This harness is the big old school style plug, and this goes behind the radio. This is the new generation. These plug in from the 22 and up radios behind the radio. These are for the base model trucks, 13 to 21 model trucks. So if you have a tradesman or if you have a base model without the ANC system, so if it only has 2 microphones in the headliner, then there's no ANC, then this is what you would use. If you have a base model, same principle, but 22 and up, then this is what you would use. These will not work if you have ANC. They will not work if you have Alpine or Harman. We have different products for those. This one is if you do have ANC. So if you have 6 microphones in the headliner, but you do not have Alpine or Harman Kardon, then this is the way you would go. This one is done at the ANC module, which is on a 1500, it's under the driver's seat. On the heavy duty trucks, it's up under the dash next to the e-brake. This means you don't have to pull the radio, makes for a really easy installation. These two you do pull from the radio. I'm going to do this one just because it's here, and it's a lot of wire for us to pick through. So we have 2 spools. And what we're doing on the ANC module, you slide the seat all the way forward, you'll unplug the 2 harnesses, you'll plug the factory harness into the female, and then you plug the male back into the ANC module. This is eliminating your microphones, it's eliminating a couple of data wires, and now the audio signal going from the radio comes straight out and goes to one of the bundles, and we use arrows on our heat shrink in order to show path of direction for the signal. You now have your front left, front right, rear left, rear right. You have all your signal wires. You can feed these into your interface. So if you're using something like an audio control interface or a WaveTech interface, if you're using an audio control amplifier, any sort of amplifier that will take signal, high-level signal straight in. And it's becoming more and more and more common where you're able to feed signal straight in the amp, which saves you a couple $100 on an interface, saves you money on quality RCAs. Plus, this is high level. High level is technically pretty much a balanced audio signal. And all that means is you're not converting it down to a smaller signal like an RCA. So high level, you're eliminating the ground reference, which an RCA style is going through. You have a positive and a ground. So that ground is grounded through the radio. So you're eliminating noise potential there. But RCA, being a small signal, is more prone to electrical interference. If you're running your RCAs next to your speaker wires coming out of your amp, you're going to pick up noise. If you're running your RCAs next to, we had a customer recently, when he would open the door, you would hear the motor for his automatic steps through the speakers. If you're running those RCAs close to other wires, it can pick up that noise. That is why we like to run high level as absolutely much in these new cars as possible. Dodges are fantastic, Rams are fantastic, but they have a lot of data going on, and sometimes that data can be kind of noisy. If you're using an amplifier ANC harness, then we have an amp rack that bolts onto the back seat of on the 1500s. So you run one set of the harness into the input of the amp, You run the other set of the harness to the output of the amp, and you run powered and ground. That's it. It makes for a really, really simple installation. If you're buying one of our behind the seat setups, this is the premise that we're using on those trucks with the WaveTech amplifiers. It just makes a really clean and simple installation. But like I said, it helps with rejecting noise. Big signal in generally means less gain. But like I said, it's just a cleaner audio signal. That's doing it with the ANC harness. With this harness, and you'll see on this one and on the new generation harness, so what we're running is we're actually adding our load resistors. This harness, like I said, fits from 2013 and up, but in 2016-ish, they changed up the software on the radios. So now, if we take the factory speaker wires and you cut them in half to feed it into a converter, now you get no sound, because the factory radio says, I don't see a speaker, I think something's wrong, and it mutes that channel. Now what we have to do is we have to add load resistors so that the factory radio sees that load and says, oh, everything's okay, I can still put out sound. On the 13 and up trucks, we include the load resistors, which this keeps, like I said, keeps the factory radio going. And then we have our 2 lead harnesses. We have the harness that's for your signal, and then we have our output. On the base model trucks and the ANC model trucks, the dash speaker is tied in with the front door. If you use this harness and you're feeding, 150 watts by 4, well, that 6x9, yeah, it's going to love that 150 watts, but that 3 1/2 in the dash is not going to like it. That's a lot of power for a little bitty speaker. What we do is we give you the option to run either the dash speakers off of the radio power, or we give you the option to run the dash speakers separately. These are even labeled left dash, right dash. That way you can have one clean bundle running the rest of the way through. And then we give you extensions so you can run your tweeter wires from behind the radio to the dash corners. And we can tell you all about that. That makes for the installation a lot simpler. So in this case, he's doing like a 6-channel amp. He may be running this to a DSP and then running a 6-channel amplifier output, so that way the tweeters and then the front doors are being run separately. You could run this off a component set. Doesn't matter how you do it, we're just giving you access to it. Instead of you having to run new wires all over the place, you're using the factory wiring through the doors, but then you're running new wiring for the dash. Like I said, this just helps you make for a really simple installation. And I know a lot of guys really like to run their own new wire. And on these newer trucks with the plugs and the door jams, it makes it hard. Yes, you can do it on the new trucks. There is a way. It's tricky, but it's available. But if you're only running, 75, 85, 100 watts, you have factory 16 gauge copper in the truck. Why do you need to run new 16 gauge copper? There's just not a lot of reason to. And we've run some significant power through the factory wiring, and we have not had any issues with longevity, durability, with power handling or sound quality coming from the equipment. This is a really, really fantastic way for you to handle it. Again, we have behind the radio, and at the ANC module, but they're all doing the same thing, and then they're all color-coded to match based off of what that speaker is. And with these, we also send you a diagram. So we'll send you out a diagram that shows you, how the different halves and signal paths and everything go, and how they integrate using a different audio interface and with your new amplifier. Hopefully that answers some questions. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you and a lot of different options. We do sell these harnesses with different audio interfaces to get you set up. If you would like to use them with an amplifier directly, then we can definitely get you taken care of with that also. If you have questions on it, hit us up in the comments below. Shoot us an email at netaudiowf@gmail.com, or feel free to give us a call at the shop at 940-767-1800, and we'll answer all your questions to make sure that you're getting the right product. Thanks, guys.